What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So I've had my iPhone XS Max for nearly 3 months now, and I've used it just about every day since launch. I've had the opportunity to check out a couple other phones between then and now, and also migrated to the iPhone XR for a little while, but for all intents and purposes, the XS Max has been my personal daily driver. That is, until today. If you're looking for the TLDR of this review, then here it is. The XS Max is a great phone. It's the biggest and most expensive phone in Apple's lineup, and it's obviously the best iPhone Apple has ever made. Duh. But being an iPhone user right now is tough, because that means you're either shelling out $1,000 or more for a phone like this, which I think is pretty painful for anyone, or you're forking over about $750 for a device that most hardcore tech enthusiasts can agree isn't necessarily up to par with other 2018 devices. That sort of leaves you with the question, if you're getting a new iPhone in 2018 or 2019, which is the better value? And for me personally, I decided that while the XS Max and even the standard size XS are great phones, they just aren't $1,000 plus devices, and I don't think they're 25% better than the iPhone XR at $750. And for that reason, I've decided to stick with my XR and say goodbye to my XS Max. This wasn't a decision I made lightly. I've always had the biggest and best flagship iPhone every year, but I've sort of come to the conclusion that even a hardcore tech enthusiast like me can't support these phones being so expensive. You could also make the argument that I shouldn't be supporting a 2018 device costing $750 and having a less than 1080p screen either. But in the end, for me personally, I'm primarily an iPhone user, and while I can't defend Apple at all for the decisions they've made with these phones, I found the XR to be the better value iPhone this time around. To me, size matters. I like them big, and that's one of the first reasons I like the XS Max. I've always had a plus-sized iPhone since they launched the 6 Plus a number of years ago now, and while I did use the slightly smaller iPhone X last year and enjoyed it for the most part, I was excited to have the opportunity to go big once again with the XS Max. The 6.5-inch display is the largest Apple has ever offered on a phone, and it took a minute to get used to, but overall, I felt very comfortable with the size of this thing. It's still quite the package to have in your pocket, but I didn't find it too inconvenient. I realize though that not everyone will be able to handle all the inches here, and that's certainly why the XR might be enticing. At 6.1 inches, it's right smack dab in the middle of the XS and XS Max, and even though I found it weird that Apple made their cheaper phone bigger, in the end, it ended up being a good decision at least to get me to buy it, and if the XR were the same size as the XS, I probably wouldn't be interested in it. For a lot of people, the 6.5-inch OLED display on the XS Max might be the deciding factor in picking up this phone. It's bold and bright with great color accuracy, deep blacks, and everything looks crisp and sharp. It's one of, if not the best display on any smartphone right now, and that's something anyone can recognize. The 2688 by 1242 resolution at 458 ppi means that you aren't going to see a pixel on this display for the most part, and the viewing experience overall is flawless from any angle. And this is where the XR and XS are vastly different. The XR's less than 1080p display isn't a problem in day-to-day use, it looks fine, but side by side, the difference is just so apparent. If you never have the chance to hold these two phones together and look, I don't think you'll be disappointed with the XR, but side by side, there's just no comparison, and that was easily the hardest thing to get over in choosing the XR. The XS Max's display is just vastly superior. As far as the design and build, the XS Max is, in my opinion, the most premium feeling smartphone in the market right now. Apple's hardware is widely recognized as some of the best in the business, and the all-glass design with the stainless steel edges here ensure that the phone feels heavy and expensive when you hold it. I'm a big fan of the polished edges, and when this design launched last year with the 10, I genuinely considered it to be the best looking iPhone Apple has ever made. The material here is absolutely premium, and coupled with the OLED display, this is what you're getting when you pay the extra money versus the XR with the aluminum edges. Yes, you can argue that in the long run, aluminum will hold up better. You won't get the micro scratches and smudges and fingerprints you'll absolutely be getting with the XS Max the second you touch the phone. But the XS Max almost looks and feels more like a piece of jewelry, and I can see why that's certainly enticing to a lot of people. What I found particularly interesting with the XS Max, and by extension the XS as well, was Apple's decision to not differentiate their flagship models this year from their budget offering with higher internal specs. Across the board, all of Apple's new iPhones ship with the updated A12 Bionic chip and next-gen neural engine. The XS and XS Max have 4GB of RAM while the XR only has 3, but that's just not something most people would be able to tell in average day-to-day use with the phone. The bottom line is that the huge price difference of the XS Max doesn't get you any high higher end specs, and that's true when you compare apples to apples, but things get even harder to compare when you look at any Android phone from the last year. Sure, you could argue that iOS is so well optimized now that anything more than 4 gigabytes of RAM is unnecessary, even with some of the most intense apps and games currently available for download in the App Store. But 3 or 4 years down the line, is this hardware going to hold up? Because let's face it, at $1,100 or $1,200 or more for the XS Max, this is a phone you're probably going to want to keep for a while. I know Apple has made great strides in optimizing iOS for older devices, and I'm sure they'll keep that up, but the bottom line is that Apple isn't pushing the envelope in the spec department. I'm not saying the next iPhone should have 10 gigs of RAM, but 6 or 8 might make these phones a solid 4 to 5 year investment, which might not make a lot of sense for Apple from a business perspective, but I think a lot of consumers might just start reconsider seeing just how much greener the grass is on the Android side. One area I think Apple really excels in is with the battery life on their devices. I know this has sort of been a sore area in recent years with throttling issues and battery replacement programs, but with their newest phones, Apple really does a good job, and the XS Max has far and away been my longest lasting iPhone. Since it's only been about 3 months, I can't say how well the battery will hold up in the long run, but right now I'm ending the day with 20% left or more, and that's something I wasn't able to do with my iPhone X last year. I'm gonna make the same argument here though and say that on one hand, the 3174 mAh battery isn't pushing the boundaries at all. The Note 9, for example, ships with 4000, but I think Apple optimizes everything well enough to where they don't necessarily have to go that large. And I'm not sure that I would necessarily need better battery life on this device for me personally though, unless we really took things to another level. The camera on the XS Max is easily in the top 5 of all the flagship smartphones this year, but I know it gets outshined by the likes of the Google Pixel, Huawei P20 and Mate 20 Pro, and likely the Note 9 too. Still, the XS Max I don't think will take a bad picture though, whether you're snapping something simple or getting the perfect portrait shot. The dual lens setup allows for a great depth of field effect that's fully customizable, and feature-wise, you're getting just about everything you could ask for, both in pictures and in video. But once again, while Apple has in the past differentiated the larger, more expensive phone by offering more software and hardware features, you're not paying for anything here in the camera department that the XS or even the XR can't do. The XS and XS Max have the exact same dual camera hardware setup and the same software features too. The XR drops the secondary telephoto lens and loses 2 portrait effects, but the primary lens on the XR and the primary lens on the XS and XS Max are identical, and the software and features including portrait mode are the same too. I did a full camera comparison between the XR and XS, and you can check that video out if you're interested, but basically what I found is what you'd expect. Because everything is identical, the pictures and video are exactly the same. Again, you do drop that secondary telephoto lens on the XR, so you can't take portrait pictures with objects, for example, but beyond that, if I'm a XS Max user, I'm a little disappointed that I'm not getting anything more here with my photos and videos. The same can be said up front too. The XR and XS Max have the same front selfie camera, the same front portrait mode, and the same updated Face ID setup, which is great for XR buyers, but is a little disappointing for XS Max folks. It's hard for me to make a review for really any of the iPhones without outright comparing them to one another, but the bottom line is that if you're an Apple fan and are currently deciding on a new phone, you're going to be doing this cross-comparison shopping. And what you'll find is that with the iPhone XS Max starting at $1,100, you're just straight up not getting $350 more value from the phone than XR. You're getting 1 gigabyte more of RAM, an OLED display instead of LCD, stainless steel edges, and a secondary camera lens that might not end up being all that useful to you. As a phone on its own, the XS Max is fantastic. I still don't necessarily think it's worth $1,100, but obviously you're paying the Apple tax here, and if you look at it from the perspective of someone who's buying a phone to keep it for like 4 or 5 years, it might make sense, but value-wise, compared to the XR for starters, and also compared to some $600 Android devices, the XS Max is just a really tough sell, and I think this is where Apple is having problems in selling their phones this time around. There just has to be an upper limit here in the price of the phone. I wouldn't have believed you if you told me 2 or 3 years ago that we'd see $1,000 plus devices, and I just can't imagine them getting more expensive now. I cannot see the average person paying $1,200 or $1,500 or $2,000 for a phone over the next couple of years. It's just ridiculous and completely unnecessary. Overall, my inability to see $1,100 in value in the XS Max is what made me decide to sell it in the end and keep my XR. 10R. I know some people will argue whether the 10R is even worth $750, but that's a topic for another video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts on the XS Max in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think of the price here. Also, be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.